Hello, Tomek Cudowski here. Today I've got a real pearl for you, a chat with an experienced expert of the Polish real estate market, despite being Dutch by origin. Erik Drukker, head of BNP Paribas Real Estate, is with us on Estate FM. Great to have you here, Erik.
Thank you, Tomek. Thank you for your invitation, and nice to have you again in my office.
As I know, you joined BNP Paribas Real Estate in 2013 and since then helped it grow as the managing director at the beginning and as a CEO since 2019. It's a perfect moment for some walk down to the memory lane, especially that I've heard that a very big anniversary is just right around the corner. But let's start from your personal story here in Poland. You arrived here almost 30 years ago. What brought you here, for Christ's sake?
I get this question a lot, and people are surprised that I have come to Poland and that I've been here for such a long time. But I absolutely love it. I love Poland, I love the country, I love the people. I do not always love the weather, certainly not this time of the year, at the end of the year, but absolutely something that I have no regret about whatsoever. It is very simple. I did not come here for any kind of love or something like that. I came here purely for work. Initially, I was living in Prague, and in Prague I got the question, we need people like you. Would you like to go to Poland, to Warsaw, or to Russia, Moscow? And I instantly responded that Warsaw I would like to go to. I had never been here before, and I have absolutely no regret.
So it was the right choice?
Yes, definitely. I landed here in Warsaw on the 1st of March 1996, hence the 30 years of coming up of my major, let's say, anniversary. I started out as an office agent. I had no experience whatsoever, but that didn't matter. I'm the kind of personality that likes to roll up its sleeves and go after it. And that's what I did, successfully at the end of it as well. I'm very pleased that I did that. And at the end, after 17 years with DTZ, we were 330 people, the number one in the market, and I was deputy MD already for quite some years.
What were your first impressions in the airport or the hotel? Can you remember those days?
I definitely can remember some of those, quite memorable. I lived in the Sobieski Hotel for about a month before moving to my first apartment in Powiśle at the time. Some of the major elements that I can remember from the early days was the fact that there were no highways. To get to Wrocław would take 6 hours by car. English was very little spoken, and anybody that spoke a couple of words of English would instantly get a job. I remember seeing horse and carriage everywhere on the road, as that was the main mode of work at all the farms. That only changed in 2004 from Poland's EU entry. I remember vividly the clock on the Palace of Culture being installed in the year 2000. I also remember that in the first decade of 2000, so 2000 to 2010 roughly speaking, Warsaw being the second biggest construction site after Berlin. And the skyline you would see was a skyline with about 50 cranes at any time. There were no more cranes available in Europe because they were either standing in Berlin or standing in Warsaw. And that is how it all began, the number of empty plots in the city. That was just an incredible opportunity. And I'm very happy and grateful that I had the chance to experience all of that.
How did your professional and personal life mix in Poland? I have a feeling that there is a romantic plot twist here.
Yes, of course, that's certainly true. So I have two wonderful kids, the age of 16 already. That's a boy and a girl. They're following the British curriculum in terms of schooling, and they're growing up to be some nice young adults at present. And for the rest, when it comes to my own career, it's something that I developed. I've always, over time, obviously, everybody, we start at the very beginning, you start at the bottom, and slowly you work up and follow the path that you want to follow. And this has been my path that I really enjoy every single day. I love to work with people. I'm an absolute team player. I cannot imagine working just purely on my own. It's been a very eventful 30 years with many steps and interesting projects that I've done. Of course, more than 20 years as an office agent to start out with before spending more and more time on the management side of things. And I've done many memorable and substantial transactions in the market. Take, for example, the pre-lease on Warsaw Spire, with Frontex. That's something that I did. There's many examples that I can give throughout the country.
So what moments or dates from those years in Poland stuck with you the most? I mean, for example, the pandemic or the crisis of 2008.
I think with an economy as strong as Poland's, because of the size of it and the location within Europe, Poland in the last 30 years has not seen a real crisis. Unlike Western Europe, take your example of 2008, 2009, the markets were heavily affected. Here it's been a little bump on the road, but not a major crisis. And that has put Poland into a very luxurious situation. And if you look at today's unemployment market, it's basically zero in Warsaw. It's 5% throughout the country, which is not all that much. And anybody who wants to work can easily find a job here today. We'll see what's going to bring in the future, of course, because you can see a lot of discomfort in the markets and insecurity in the markets. But if we keep on growing like we have been doing with a healthy GDP, then I don't see any major obstacles on continuing that path for the years to come.
What changed the most on the Polish market over the years, except of the skyline of Warsaw, of course?
First of all, I will say that all international companies have come to the country. Any kind of product has arrived here, basically. Of course, exclude the very high-end luxury sector. But besides that, everything and everybody is here because of the sheer size of the market that Poland is, with almost 40 million inhabitants. When it comes to all kinds of investors, of course, in real estate have been here, are coming back. So this is a continuing thing, and the markets are getting more and more mature. We're not an emerging market anymore for a very long time. It's a solid, strong economy that is booming and boosting because of its size. Thankfully, of course, also due to the investments that have been done, thanks to the European Union and by the government, such as infrastructure, airports, train stations, but most importantly, the highways. You remember the early days of the 90s when there was no highway, and today look at the network that we have. It's just outstanding.
And how has BNP Paribas Real Estate evolved during these years, during your leadership?
We've gone through, like every company, there's always some ups and downs throughout the years, so there's no different for us. However, in my view, we are a very joined up and streamlined organization with a strong team spirit, with much better profitability than we've had in the past. And this has put us into a very nice position. We are obviously a niche player with 160 staff. We're not someone like some of our other colleagues with hundreds of people. And that's not going to change anytime soon either. Let's be very realistic about that as well. But it's a very strong organization, well supported by the size of the bank that we have in Poland. And that helps us and supports us a lot as well. And that gives us a completely different edge, or stronger edge, that other companies don't have.
Where is the company heading now? Any new areas, services, or ideas brewing?
Some of the ideas brewing, or some of the views that are going on. Obviously, ESG remains an important part in that sustainability. But at the same time, I see that AI will play a much stronger part in the coming years. Data itself, as to knowledge and data around the sector. And then in terms of some of the asset classes, of course, you're looking at data centers, hotels, and tourism industry, which is getting stronger and stronger as well. We'll see what's going to happen with the master planning of the country, because this is a hot topic at the moment, and how that's going to pan out in terms of future developments of cities by itself.
We've already peeked behind the scenes of BNP Paribas Real Estate, so let's switch gears. Which cuisine wins, Polish or Dutch? And the favorite go-to dishes?
I love that one.
Pierogi, let me guess.
Tak, bigos, pierogi. Żurek, which is very different from region to region in the country.
You mean the soup?
Yes, I'm talking about the soup.
Okay.
So the żurek in Masurian district is not the same as it is in Zakopane.
Mm-hmm.
So a completely different thing. If you look at the Dutch cuisine, the basis of it is very similar to Polish or German cuisine, meaning some kind of meat and then potatoes and some vegetable one way or another. But I always like to add a little flavor to that. I think that the Dutch cuisine is not particularly exciting. It's rather blunt, and from the old days of at some point in the history, a more poor nation, until the Netherlands became extremely wealthy through its international VOC, United East India Company, of being the first publicly traded company in the world, right? And trade of spice. And with all that trading of spice, colonialization, where the Netherlands, of course, was mastering or managing Indonesia, particularly for a couple of centuries. That influence of Indonesia has brought that Indonesian kitchen to the Netherlands to very strong and high level. And so I like to say actually that our kitchen is more Indonesian than potatoes.
And how do you recharge your batteries on weekends and during longer breaks?
I don't get much of a chance of that. But there's of course a couple of elements here. Partially it's art. My wife has an art gallery on Mokotowska. That's one thing. Another thing, of course, that keeps me very busy are the kids. And the third element is that I have a property outside of Warsaw, which is a historical property. So I'm developing that.
If you weren't a seasoned real estate pro, what other job could you see yourself doing?
I love real estate, so I can hardly imagine that I would change that, meaning that my whole professional career basically. But I would definitely like to stay in an element of that. If I were to change completely, then I would stay in an element of the real estate sector, but I would focus on old properties, so listed properties that need refurbishment, that need care, and that need redevelopment with new purpose, and to work on that. I think that historical part is extremely important for the country, is an important element of where the country is and where it came from historically, and that's something that needs to be taken care of. And that's something, an area I would love to be more involved in.
And last but not least, what should we wish you on behalf of all Estate FM listeners, because Christmas is coming, aside from the classic health, love and money trio?
That's a difficult one, Tomek. Wish me good. Be supportive from a good perspective, with good energy and a good vibe. On behalf of the entire team at BNP Paribas Real Estate, we would like to wish you all a very happy holiday season and thank you all for 2025.
Erik, thank you so much for this conversation. It was a real pleasure to look at the Polish market much more through your eyes. Best of luck with everything that's ahead.
With your 30 years, you can say.
30 years. And to all our Estate FM listeners, thanks for joining us. Stay tuned for the next episodes. Take care and have a great day.